Good morning. It is the first Tuesday in February, and we are looking forward to Valentine's Day and St. Patrick's Day. So I have Alyssa here. She is going to be teaching us how to make a lattice heart, and then we can take that heart and turn it into a puff heart, or we can also take that same technique and make it into a shamrock. So I'm really excited. It's going to be a hands-on tutorial. So we have this recorded, so you can go back and take a look. Alyssa, do you want to say hi and introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. My name is Alyssa Murray Lane, and I am a balloon artist. I've been in business for over 17 years now. So crazy every time I say that. And I own two businesses, well, three businesses, NWI Party, NWI Party Marquee, and Party Lane. So I have a couple different brands, and I'm so excited to teach you how to do this. I did everything green because it could be done in pink or green, and then it's just going to look like a heart, or else the hearts to create the shamrock. So. Okay.
Awesome. I'm going to be following along. I prepped some Linkaloons in pink because I want to make a heart. I just personal desire to want to know how to do this. So, I can't wait. Let's get going.
Okay, so I'm going to start. So essentially a there's the heart shape and then there's the shamrock. And the shamrock is three hearts plus a tail to put it together. So if you learn how to make a heart, then you learn how to make a shamrock. But that's why I went green, because I thought that it would look goofy to make a pink heart or a pink shamrock, but I mean, I suppose I could have. So just didn't think about it. So I'm gonna grab, I have some green. Um,
Awesome. Oh,
So it's
wow.
also
Okay, you're
going to
definitely
be,
have to help us figure out the color placement because the this one looks easier. The other one definitely looks harder.
yeah. And what we're going to do is we're going to make the second, because it's just a really nice way to be able to elevate it by having the color differentiation. And then I will go ahead and put that recipe into the school group as well. So in one of the comments, which currently is just a doodle, but that's how I always figure it out. And I'm going to go through my process for how to figure it out. So that way, if people don't know how to do it, they're able to, which is just essentially you draw it out. I'm happy to show that to anybody. If you want, take a screenshot now. But what I do is I just color them A and B.
Okay.
And then I have my chains, because we're going to make two chains of 12. So this would be my first chain, how it goes up, because this is how we put it together. Like the two chains of 12. Whoops. Sorry, my thoughts. Chain of 12, our chain of 8, and then we have the two pieces that curve it off, and then you would get connect them and then get the tail. So that is just the basic patterning for how to put it together, and that'll make more sense in a minute for colors A and B.
Okay. Is just so I can kind of tell the difference. Is that the one that is with the lime green on the
Yep,
exterior?
blending the
Okay.
edges. Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so there's a couple different ways to do this. This I call the lattice heart, just because to me it looks like a lattice fence. I don't know if that's the technical name for it. That's what I call it. If you want to make, this would be a lattice heart with an outline. So again, it's just elevating it. It's the same thing, but it's in the pattern that I just showed you.
Okay.
And then there's a couple different things that you could do. One is you'll notice that everything is joined together with these 5-inch fillers. If we take the two hearts and join them together, which I'm going to do that really quick with the 5-inch, and you just take it, put it in between at all of the connection points. I'm not going to do every single one, because this is just an example of how to turn it into something else. This is technically what the puff part is the puff part is two hearts that are joined together. So that way it puffs out. And you would put this on every single one.
Okay.
If I'm losing a balloon somewhere.
For the 5 inches that you're using, did you inflate those to full 5 inches or are they smaller?
Or inflate anything full. But you could see how what that does is it gives it the 3D effect. So if you do have something that's hanging, it's really nice to be able to do that where you have both the front and the back, and then it's going to puff out to be either a puff heart or a puff shamrock. So it just gives it a lot more dimension if you do it that way. And then there's one final thing that you could do as well. I inflated them to about 4 inches. So I did my links at 6.5 inches and then my 5 inch at 4 inches.
Okay, let me ask a really stupid question here.
No,
My
stupid
link,
question.
okay,
I
my
have
link
a stupid
only
answer.
say I have 6 inch and then I have
Mhm.
12 inch. So you said 6.5. So
Yeah,
did you,
I went to 6.5 with my 12 just because our
okay,
scale with how big I wanted to do it, because you could see even with it at 6.5 inches how large of a piece it's going to be. So, and when I do it with the 6 inch, then I normally fill them to about 3.5 inches to 4 inches, just so that it has a little bit more flexibility.
okay.
Okay, so there's one more thing that you could do with these, and that would be to create fillers. And filler is when you take 12 inch, it has to be sized down so that it pushes through. And then these would fill it out just to give it again a more complete look. So it just really is going to depend upon where your client's budget is for how detailed you're going to get, because you could do either just the plain lattice heart, you could do a lattice heart with an outline, or you could do a puff heart that's 3D, or you could do a puff heart that also has fillers, or a lattice heart that has fillers, depending upon the type of space that you want. So really by learning this one thing, you're actually learning 5 different designs plus the shamrock. Does
Mhm.
that make sense? Okay,
Yep.
so I'm going to go ahead and take this apart right now. Go ahead.
Okay, are there any other patterns that you play with within the actual initial lattice Linkaloon setup? Because I see the outline, but do you play with any other patterns, you know,
Yeah,
going diagonal, or does it look,
I've created it in an ombre
oh,
font. So that way it's going to just be just a little, again, just a little bit more interest. So, and when I did that with each of my pieces, and we'll talk about the chains as we make them, because this is essentially going to be made of 3 chains. 2 of them are 12 links, and 1 of them is 8 links. And I just did each of those in a different color so that it created, but you could make it striped, you could make it in, in ombre, you could do any sort of, just let your imagination go wild. You could do like a little flower at the center. You can make it as interesting as you want to, like have fun designing it. Especially with the hearts. I've done some that were like pink, red, and white. So that way it had a couple colors on it.
mm-hmm. Yeah, that would look cute.
Yeah, just to make it a little bit more different. Okay, so I do need to replace one balloon on here. So we can do that really quick. Then I'm going to get to how we inflate and tie together the links and how we put it together. So I do have one that went down. I have my machine is already set to the measurement that I wanted to use it at. So I don't need to size it, but I do have both a box sizer and a slider that I'm able to use in order to get the measurement to make sure that I'm where I want it to be. So when I know how big I want it to be, then that's how I figure out Make sure it's not too large for the space. Just going to cut this one off.
Any questions so far?
Okay, so let's go ahead and get to the meat of how to make the heart. And again, we're not going to be making our salad heart. We're going to do the more challenging puff heart. So normally when I do these, if it was just a heart, I'm also going to do my 5-inch duplets around every single end. The reason that I haven't gotten to that part yet is because first I wanted to demonstrate doing the lattice, doing the puff heart. And if we do the puff heart, what we're doing is we're joining it end to end. So you would take every single one of these connection points, but you want to make sure that those are always covered. And same thing with when we're making it into a shamrock, we're going to be connecting the hearts together by adding these. So whenever I make a shamrock, I personally prefer to use at least 2 shades of green in it. Sometimes I outline everyone. This one I left the middle one solid, just strictly for demonstration purposes. But I find that when I do it all in one color without any sort of outline, then what happens is it like all starts to blend together. So I just find that it's more interesting. You can tell what it is more when we do have that. With the color variation, you also, you think about how you're joining it together with an outline a lot of times. So if this would be my outside part, I would leave these 3 as this inside color. If that makes sense. So that way it doesn't, it just looks like that's where it's going to be naturally joining together, just in terms of design. So,
Ah,
but since
okay. So
I've
the
got,
whole thing is outlined, not each leaf.
yeah, so I would do that instead of each leaf. But again, in this case, just for demonstration purposes, because I want everybody to be able to see the 3 hearts clearly to understand the design. That's why I put it together with the full outline on the outside.
Got it.
Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to go over is how we tie links together. And whenever I underinflate links, I don't inflate them up at the top to make it more round. If I'm underinflating any sort of balloon, I always pull the neck down on my machine so that way it blows up to be more round without having to squish it. See how it's already rounded? And then I'm going to take it, and anytime that you build a sculpture, you want it to be really tight. So I'm going to pull and cross over, go around twice and tie. And that's just going to give it more structure than if it's looser and it could pull apart. So that's how we tie our links. And I already put together my first chain of 12. And what I'm going to do is turn those into a ribbon. And my first chain, what is it? It's this one. It starts out, and this is going to be my outside. And this is going to be my center. So whenever you make a chain, you always hold it upright. So that way you can find your center point. So this way, this is my middle, and I have 6 on each side.
Okay.
So the first one, I'm going to leave how it is. I'm not going to crisscross there because we want to have a small little gap. So I'm going to go down to my second. I'm going to twist it, and I twist it 3 times to keep this on the outside. So 1, 2, 3. So what we're doing is we're creating a little box on the top.
Okay.
And I'm again going to skip 1. I'm going to come down. And I'm again going to twist it 1, 2, 3 times. What you want to be sure of is that we have our full outline on the outside. So all of our lime green is on the outside for this one. Or your secondary color. You can start with these in a ring. I prefer to start with it as a ribbon just because or as a chain because it's just easier for me. And then I'm again going to go to my bottom, go around twice, tie these tight. So you could see if we take the heart, what I've made is this piece of it in front.
Okay.
So now we're going to make the middle piece, which is 1/4. So again, I'm going to find my center and it should be 10 long. Let's see, or 12 long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm one short. Alyssa can't count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's hilarious. Okay. So I'm going to look at my pattern and I have A, and then I should have 5 B's. And what happens is I only did 4 of those. So we're going to show you a little trick. Pretend like I did this on purpose. The reason that we go around twice is now I could pull it. And it's going to be able to untie for me. So that's how I fix my mistakes if I ever make one in a pattern. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So I tied all these together initially. I should detach them, is what you're saying. I can't work from one chain of it.
You can.
Can't. Okay.
Well, oh, you mean that you made all of them together, how many it was in one? You can, but it's more difficult. I prefer to do it
Okay.
with yeah, that's going to get pretty confusing.
Okay.
Okay, so now I have my middle part. So I'm going to look at it and compare it to my pattern where I have my color A, 5 color B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I have 3 color A, 1, 2, 3, 2 color B, 1, 2, and then 1 A. So this is my midpoint, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to leave the first one out, cross the second, leaving these on the same side, skip one, cross, and then tie my ends together tightly. Now we're going to go ahead and compare this to the road. You can see where we start because we're not doing these two yet. That's how we curve it. And you can see that it's a match. So we're doing the second row over.
Okay.
So now I'm going to go and do my last chain. And I blew this one up 2, 2, 2, 2. I am going to turn this one into a ring. It's easier for me to work from it. So this is my top, this is my bottom. So the 2 lime green on the top and on the bottom. And then we're going to just twist our two middle ones together to form the flower or the X. So this is what the third one looks like. Okay, so I'm going to move the camera so that we could start to put these together so you can see how I'm working. Okay, so what I'm going to do is start with my two ribbons, because I've turned my chains into ribbons, and I'm going to connect them. So you just put them next to each other. And then we're going to take a 5-inch, and where you hold them together, like right on the knots, what we're going to do is we're going to wrap a 5-inch around that spot. And now we're going to repeat that for the top one. I always put my 5-inch. Well, I normally put my 5-inch. I don't always do everything into a wagon so they're not on the floor. And I use the double-decker wagon because it's a little bit taller, so I don't need to bend over. Some people use a laundry hamper, but then I'm bending down and I'm old. So I did it on the bottom one, and now I'm going to do my very bottom. And when I do it, I want to make sure that it's twisted so that my entire outline is on a single side here. Cross them over and bring one to the front. So now I have these connected. Once they're connected, you see that it's kind of a wavy shape. I want to cover up all of these connection points. So I'm going to do the same thing by adding a 5-inch. So I'm going to add 4 more to the centers of those X's or flowers. So then I put it under, bring it up, twist it once, put the other side under. That's where the lock it into place.
I missed it. I'm here. I've got my 3 in the middle.
So
And now you're doing the connection points.
So now I'm just doing, so I connected them together, and now I'm just doing the centers.
Ah, okay. And that's important to do at this step.
I do it now just because it's easier and it lays flatter, because before I was getting a little bit of curve. So now you can see that it's nice and flat.
Oh, got it. Okay.
So one of the things that I need to be cognizant of is which way this heart is going to go to. So we have our, I guess it doesn't matter, but you can see where we have these two right here. This is where we're going to join our third ribbon to it, our shorter ribbon. So you almost make it look like an L, like a short L if it's upright. So we're going to connect it this way.
Okay.
I'm going to take my 5-inch again. Again, you don't want to tie them together. Like when I first started doing this, I actually tied them all together and then added a 5-inch. That's crazy panics because it's so much more work to do that. And then if there's a mistake or something goes down, or you find that your pattern was wrong, this makes it, the more you tie, the more difficult it is. This is going to keep it super secure. And then the button center. Okay. So now we have a almost complete heart. It just needs to be rounded off.
Looks great.
You can see that we were here with this L shape. And then when you turn it, pivot it, it makes the heart. So what we're going to do, so we're going to add 2 chains of 2 of our outside color. And these we are going to tie. I wrap it around, come back up, and I tie it to the one with the nozzle.
I can turn this off.
No, it's fine. You keep doing it. I'm still working my chair.
This one bother you?
So now you can see how this side is more rounded compared to this side being flat, just on the edges. So now we're going to go ahead and do that to the other side too. So I take the tip around. I get it. So now we have the rounded heart shape. Okay, are we ready to join these together?
No, I'm not. You're a little faster than me, but it's getting there.
Okay, so I am going to do this on the table. I'm going to move here with like 1/5 inch. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the bottom of each heart, and I'm going to take these and same thing, twist them together at connection points, and each side should have 3. We have 1, 1 and 2. There'll be 6 total. And again, I chose a third color for my 5-inch, just because I wanted it to be easier to see the pattern for what I was doing. I did all these, but then I forgot to inflate the ones for my 5-inch for the ones that go around it to finish it. So I can do that while people can ask questions.
I got my heart. Check it out.
Okay. It looks great. Look at that.
Yeah, it came out cute. Now
So
I
now-
want to stuff it. Oh, wow.
So
That
it was
was really
easy
good.
to join the 3 hearts together. And you can see why I like to add the pattern, because it just makes it so that you can see it a little bit better. If I was selling this, then I would do this part in the lime green as well for the outside ones, just to make it, again, like go together so that you can see it a little bit better. Make it look more complete. Okay, so now what we need to do though is we need to add the tail. And you could do the tail 2 ways. The first is that you just have your regular linking tail, in which you would then connect into it. And you would just add like a little 5-inch quad to every single one to hold it in shape or give it a little bit of movement. But I am going to turn this into a ribbon in this case. I think I want to do a ribbon. The reason that I like to do it as a ribbon is because then I could, when you do it as a single tail, it's coming from it. There's really no good place for it to come from because the middle balloon is a single balloon.
Mhm.
So that's why I like to do it as the ribbon, because if I do it as a ribbon, then I could connect it to the necks, which are here and here. So then I just feel like it fits a little bit better. Tie my ribbon in. This should be a little bit longer. I'm going to add one more little step to it because it's too short. So back at my machine. Not that easy. I would have to add 2 more. And I think I'm actually out of this color. I only have 1 more here. So forget it. We're just going to do a short one for that reason. Well, that's disappointing. Disappointed myself. Because if I come here, then it's not going to be enough. So I would need to do 2 more to make another full box in order to do it. Does everybody know how to make a link if you don't have one? I can actually show that.
No, I don't.
So I could either choose a different color because I was at, this one is similar because I was at Float last week. And of course I didn't, check my product before I left. Or you could make one. I'm going to see if I have another one in this color. You tell these are the same or very similar because I actually was working through my old Qualitex links before they went bad. So BRB. I can't walk past my camera.
So I was just messing with my design over here. I'll show you guys. So I tried to make it look just like Alyssa's. So I took, so let me save this. Let's see. I took my heart. I did the lattice heart first. I did it with a varied pattern. And actually in real life, I made these bigger than I probably should have. Should have made them smaller. Probably looked a little bit better smaller. And then added the bigger ones as the fillers. I added love as a cute little like add-on. And then I made the shamrock in all green, but I didn't think about doing it with the you know, the perimeter to be a different color. So I'm not sure how deep she goes with these other like with if she goes all the way around it. I could go all the way around it so they stand out more. Alyssa, what do you think? So initially when I made my shamrock, I just basically copy and pasted
That's how I would do it. That's
my cuff
exactly how.
art. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
so
exactly
here,
how.
would you go one level deeper here?
No,
'Cause you're connecting it up
no,
here, I think.
no. When I make it with it, that's usually the exact pattern that I use.
Okay. Yeah, I think it looks really cute. I did a single tail down here with I did like a reflux lime green as a metallic here with these 3 But now seeing Alyssa do with the link balloons, maybe I would swap that out to do the links.
Yeah, and it honestly, sometimes when I do the pattern, it's because it's a last minute order and I might not have enough of one color in, so I need to now use two different color links. Like I had somebody order one last minute last year and we were out of our links, or almost out, so we ended up doing an outline with white even, so that way that was able to pull it together too. Darn it.
Alyssa, tell me how big is that? Because I think each of those are like, well, you're using bigger link balloons than I am. This heart here is like 3 feet.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Yeah. So how big is that?
I mean, this is going to be about, I'm 5 foot, so to the top, we're looking at about 5.5 to 6 foot. And depending upon the space, I have made it bigger by just, the largest that I've gone is to 8 inches for the design. But I mean, you could do, if you have a large space, you could go the full 12. When I did it with the 8 inches, it was actually still pretty big for the space, to be honest.
Mhm.
Tore one of my links trying to do
Is this like an Irish bar buy or who's buying this?
I have a couple clients that do they decorate for St. Patrick's Day every year. We do some St. Baldrick's, some of the bars. Like we have a lot of Southside Irish out here. Southside. If they're from Chicago, they know. If you know, you know. It's just like there's a huge population. I think that there's a huge population of Irish people in Chicago. And so there's so much St. Patrick's Day. A lot of bars just get some fun stuff to make it stand apart because they have a lot of clients who stop it.
Mhm.
Casinos will buy something like this if you have a casino account.
Mhm.
Okay, so I undid this chain, so we're going to make it a little bit bigger. Let me show you how
Hi,
I do that.
sorry, I have a question.
Yeah,
I heard you mention you did 8 inches, and you said the 8 inches is a bit smaller or
no,
bigger?
bigger,
Oh,
bigger. Like this is a
oh,
6.5 inches. Eight
oh,
inches
so
is the largest that I've made it because otherwise it would not have fit into the space.
okay. And what was this? Have you ever made it smaller than this, or this was the smallest here?
So if I was going to go smaller than the 6 inches, then I would have used 6.5 inches, then I would have used 6 inch links. But
Uh-huh.
again, I don't like to ever fill to the fullest capacity just because I
Capacity.
feel like, yeah, I don't like to fill to capacity. I like for my balloons to have a little bit more stretch. So that way, when I am transporting and installing, I'm less likely to have pops.
Okay. So
Okay.
you prefer for the balloon size to remain at 6.5. You wouldn't want to blow it up smaller than that.
I don't like to go smaller than that because I could just go down the size in links. So
Okay.
like
Okay.
if you don't have 6 inch links, then you could go smaller, but I never really inflate an 11 or 12 inch smaller than 5 inches because
Yeah.
it just
The
starts to
shape.
look funny. Yeah, even if you pull it
Mm-hmm.
down. I find that 6 or 6.5 is the smallest that I personally like to go.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so we're using a pinto bean because I like having something a little bit harder, but you can make a little ball of like a knot of a 260 and put it in to the end. And then I find the center point or the drip mark and I just pull it tight so that's stretched. And then we're going to take our 260 and wrap it. That's the other reason that without going all the way, so now you can see that I have this little raisin twist on the end that I'm able to attach with. So now when I inflate my two links, use, and now I have a connection point. So when I come to here, What I'm going to do is actually, I go around, so my knot is up here. Could you see that? The knot is on top, and I'm going under the knot or the little pinto bean, and then I'm tying it. Did you see the little bean?
Yep.
Okay. I'm just going to come around and secure it and tie it off. So that's how you could make a link if you run out of links, if you had some pop, if you misordered.
Pretty much for desperate situations because that would take a while.
It's not, I mean, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. So now I could put this together. Like I would have had exactly enough, but I ended up not having enough of my pattern. So same thing. So I'm going to find my middle point. Two. Here. Two. Now this is a little bit longer. And I could reattach it. And again, dollar store.
Mhm.
I used to always use the 260 scrap, but those are harder to find. Beans like that don't really go bad. I got that hit from Edward Munoz, the master, during one of his distortion classes. Not at this last float, but at the float 2024. Like, that's smart. It's also a little bit harder, so it's easier to find. And now I'm going to do a 5-inch duplet in the center of each of these in order to fill it. Oh, I got my measurements. I did them both at my setting of 5 because I was that way I don't need to go up and down because I knew that it was going to look good at that size. I was like, what is this about? Okay, it's at about 4 1/3. That's going to be perfect because then I don't need to change it. So I'm less likely to make an error and misinflate something. All I have to do is put my tips on and off. Whenever I recipe something in house, I'm always looking for not just the way that it'll look the best, but the way that we make the least mistakes and that it is the most scalable to train other people. Because it's amazing to do everything in your own business, but you can't scale unless if you could train other people to do some of your inflation for you. You're just limited by your hour.
Mhm.
Makes sense.
Darn it, lost one. And you know what? I didn't end up losing the one. You would have thought that I would lose the one with the raisin twist, but I actually lost a regular one. So I'm going to make one more of those.
Does anyone else have any questions so far while she's making that? The lattice heart was actually easier than I expected, and I'm glad that I split that chain that I made into the 12, like Alyssa said. It was so much easier because it was getting all funky, so it was way easier to split it up like that.
And you can see this is how fast it is. Like it's really pretty quick too.
That lattice skill also translates into the lattice wall. At Float, Alyssa made this gorgeous Linkoloon X lattice wall, and it was fun because she could play with the pattern. And when we stuffed the balloons in there, we played with the pattern a little bit with making the colors go in this diagonal V shape. So there's a lot you can do with the links. Alyssa, do you have any other bits of advice on things that are easy to replicate with this link technique?
You could make anything with links. I love links so much. I almost love links more than I like rounds because you could do so many simple sculptures with them that are super duper sellable that set you apart. You could also you could make it into a cube, which we have the the World Cup coming this year, now that turns into a soccer ball. You could make it into a dice you could make it into a sphere, which turns into a soccer ball. You could make it into dice, which you could use for any type of casino theme. You could make any type of sculpture with links. They're just
Mm.
so easy to work with.
What did people do before links for some of this stuff? They just couldn't make it, or did they glue it, or what did they do?
They used
Mm.
alternate duplicate, and anything that would be a ring, they did with that. If you think about murals, they would just make this like how you would make a mural by doing the alternate duplicate and connecting it together. So links just make everything so much better. I love links. Yay, links.
Yeah.
Don't be scared of them. Add them in because it will just be able to change the way that you run your business. Okay, so this would need finishing touches because we would need all of our outsides to have 5-inch, but it's pretty, it needs something like this. Takes us, just because it's 3 hearts and with all the 5-inch, it's going to take us a little bit over an hour to make it. So just when you're pricing, you want to figure out your time. The first time you do something is always going to take a little bit longer. But you're able to get it together pretty quickly. Okay, so I would need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 30, I believe, more 5-inch. So I'm not going to bore you all by doing that. Can you see me okay? Because I'm not seeing anybody right now for some reason.
You had it just right. Keep
Okay.
it there.
So this is our final look.
Nice.
And so we're at a total, inflating these, we're probably about 7 foot because it's at the top of my hand extended. And I know what my reach is without going on my tiptoes. So we're about 7 foot high.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it needs a couple
That's
of touches
pretty
on
big.
the edges, but that's it. So cute. And
Very
honestly,
nice.
so easy and sellable. So you could do the hearts, sell them for Valentine's Day. You could do the Shamrock, sell it for St. Patrick's Day. It's just such a great design to be able to create. Does anybody have any other questions? I'll finish it off and then I'll take a picture that we could put into the chat that anybody could grab and use. I'll hang it.
Yeah, it looks great. I love it. I love it. And I'm partial to the hearts because I feel like you could really make a cool wall with like just putting like the hearts together, you know?
Mhm.
So cute. What other have you I know you've used hearts in a variety of ways for Valentine's Day or what other events. Are
Mhm.
there any other ideas you have for just using the small hearts? Like how I know we made the I love you,
Yeah.
the I heart you. That was really cute. Any other ideas?
Yeah, I think it looks cute as a prop for a photo op. If you have a Valentine's Day wall, then you could
Yeah.
upsell them on having a prop to walk into it and hold on to it in between. That's really cute for like a daddy's daughter dance for them to be able to have a prop like that. And I know that we had set it up if you want to add those photos to float Alexis, where we had the I and then someone standing there with the heart and then the you. So that way somebody could stand in the middle of it and it can be, I heart you, which is just a really cute photo op for somebody or else a Valentine's Day setup. Like I get inquiries we do hotel room setups for Valentine's Day where we deliver and this year I'm actually making one of the lattice hearts out of the 6 inches so that it's a little bit smaller and we're laying that on the bed. So because he wanted something different than just doing rose petals in the circle but he wanted something on the bed and didn't want to do regular balloons and didn't want to do a big marquee and then a bunch of ceiling balloons and then 2 little heart columns. And then we just have that on the bed. And it's just so cute. They could bring it home. Super fun. Could all be done ahead of time. It's the other thing that I like compared to helium is just anything that's air filled that we could make it now and it's going to last for weeks if you just put it in a bag and protect it. So
Absolutely. Question for you. So if I used the larger 12-inch Lincoln balloons for a lattice heart and added in the fillers and all that, would you suggest if I put like dowels in there to kind of keep it structurally stiffer, or is it gonna stay on its own? This feels pretty good, but this is small. So I'm just wondering, does it get too floppy when it's bigger?
as long as you tie it tight with the overlap, then it's not really going to get floppy, but that's just going to depend upon your construction with making sure that you have that really good crossover that you're reaching and crossing over, because that's what's going to keep it structurally sound. Also, if you want for something to last longer, it's a little bit more structurally sound if you take the MBT, this is how they want you to tie all of your links. First one, tie it off, and instead of tying, I told you I'm so dropping today. Instead of tying end to end, which is faster, you're going to tie it tip to tail.
Hold on, Alyssa, go slow there because hold on, stop. Oh, okay, you did it already.
So instead of doing two at the same time and connecting them nozzle to nozzle or tail to tail, I'm adding it up as the chain where I keep on going tip to tail. And again, pull it over so that way we're super tight. But that just gives it, because the balloons, like the top part is a little bit wider than the bottom part. So this, if you need something that's going to be lasting a little bit longer or a larger structure, then that's how you want to inflate your links. Instead of doing them two at a time, you want to do them one at a time and tie them all tip to tail as you go up.
But that'll take twice as long, right?
It will take twice as long, but if you need it to last longer and be more structurally sound, that's how you achieve that. So you're sacrificing time for longevity.
Okay, so that the way that she tied it all, like she pulled it across tight like that, I hadn't realized that I wasn't tying my balloons that tight. I was always kind of just tying them, getting them close together and tightening them. But if you do the technique that she just showed you, it really does make a big difference in how tight they are, especially for sculptures and things like that. Other question I had, is there a scenario where you're cutting off the little tails? Because like they're here, right? Should
We're covering those all in 5-inch.
cover them all of them. So
Cover
like
them all.
here, I've got this one.
Haven't gotten to that.
Am I putting a 5-inch here? Like
Yep.
on my corner of my heart? All of them. Okay.
Yeah, every single one. And if it's one that's that small, then if I'm doing one that size, so I'm with the 12-inch, I'm going to do the 5-inch duplets. If I'm doing it that size, I'm going to do a half twist or a split twist. So size wise, inflate it, let some air out, stretch it, tie it at the end. See how it's shaped like this. Even pressure on both, push it in and wrap it around a couple times. So now this is locked. But so when I do a small one, then on the edges, I cover it all with a split twist instead of with two 5-inch, just because it's going to be a little bit more proportional compared to on this size. I'm going to do the big ones or the two 5-inch duplets together, just because it's size wise, that's going to look more in line with it. And then to put this on, it's just the same thing. Just push back, they trade places, and you would have that on all of your edges, and then that's going to cover it. If your link tails are showing, otherwise, I do recommend that you trim them or cut them off, but it's better to cover them up. And also, if you ever have an end that you need to cover, you could sometimes snap it and then see how it just disappears. It goes into it.
Okay.
Get it out now.
Okay.
Any other questions?
That was awesome. Thank you.
It's a fun design and it's so sellable.
Totally.
So sellable. Okay, so for this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change out my edge so that it is completely outlined in green, in the lime green instead of in the dark green. And then I'm going to add the 5-inch duplets to it all the way around because those are the finishing touches. This is how I would finish it if I was making it as a sellable piece.
Awesome.
Okay, I do have a question I wanted to ask. Are we talking about pricing in this session as well?
So for pricing, what you want to look at is what your overhead is, what your product cost is, so what I do is for my overhead, and I have different overhead than other people do, but for my overhead, I now charge $1.50 a minute. So if I know that something is going to cost us, and I figure that on a 40-hour work week, even though we're open more than 40 hours, but that's okay. I have insurance, I have rent. So I used to figure it on $1 a minute, and I always recommend figuring it at least $1 a minute. So if something takes me 15 minutes to make, I do 15 minutes for overhead. Overhead includes time to clean up, time to order your supplies, the time to run your electric, the time to run your gas, the investment in your machines, the vehicle expenses, just everything that's like an additional expense for your business. So $1 a minute for that. And then if it take the wage of what you are paying yourself or your staff member, add that into the price as well for how long it takes. How much do you need to pay somebody to make it? Add in your supply cost. And then what I do is I divide it by 0.4. That's how I get to it. And that's going to be my final selling cost. So that's my formula. And that formula is going to vary a little bit for everybody, depending on the expenses and depending on how much they pay people. And that's why I don't like to just give a set price.
Okay.
And if I feel like it comes in too low, I feel like it's better to know, like you need to know how to price things instead of me just saying, I'm going to sell this for, $250. It's better for me to tell you how you could get to that number. We put out a lot of production. We do things really fast. So it's like, honestly, my girls, I think that when we made a bunch of them last year, they took us like 45 minutes each to whip out. So it was pretty quick because I had one person just doing duplets, one person doing the links, and then I had another person assembling. And we were able to make with 3 people, we were able to make, I think, 4 of them in an hour. So if you do have something going where it's more production, then it's going to take you less time. So it takes us less time to make it. But if I was selling it, say, going into Chicago compared to selling it when I do it in Northwest Indiana, then I'm actually going to bring my price up to $350 from $250 just because of perceived value and because I could get those prices there, whereas I can't get those prices here. So my pricing changes depending upon my market too. It's one of the reasons I have
It's
two
kind of
boards.
like what the market will bear. What is the client willing to pay? It's kind of like houses, right? Like if someone's willing to pay for that, and it's not, you shouldn't be testing your customers because you're going to lose customers and lose trust like that. But
Mm-hmm.
I would say try a little exercise in your own business. Take a weekend where you have several events and time yourself per each event
Oh
and
yeah.
see what your net is. So like my business partner and I will time ourselves like our prep time, right? And we'll write it down per event that we're doing. So say we're prepping for like 5 events in a weekend, and we will do that across each event, and then we'll do the actual like delivery and install of that full event, and we'll try to figure out like which events were we the most profitable on, right? And so the balloon costs, I actually have a spreadsheet of like the cost per, so across like Sempertex, Tough Text, Calisan, like Calisan is a little bit less expensive, Sempertex a little bit more, right? Like so, but all in all, like you've heard of the concept of like cost averaging, they're all the 11 inches are like roughly around like 11 to 14 cent, like 11 cents, like 14 cents for like some of the 17 inches. Like you're not selling balloons. At the end of the day, those costs are so nominal. It's your time, which is the big expense, right? So are you able to cover the cost that Alyssa described in your business? And whether you have one event or 15 events in a month, you have to cover those costs, right?
Yeah.
So get into the habit of like just understanding how quickly you go and like what is your actual hourly rate. You might say, oh, my hourly rate is 50 or 150 or whatever it is. You're not going to know what that is until you actually go time yourself, right? And then
Mhm.
back into the other costs and do that a few weekends. Like one weekend you might be faster and one weekend things might just totally get messed up, right? So just like, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And that's why I have a lot of people in production, because for me, for my time, I try to spend my time in my business doing income generating tasks. And because my time is worth approximately $150 an hour is what I need to be. So I should not be on production, because production, by the time I pay payroll taxes, that's a $20 an hour job capped off. So production, $20 an hour. So I'm not figuring out my time, because my time would be, it's more valuable than other people's time. And I already have built into my time my cost of doing business. So because I know that when I'm doing something, that it's like I have an assistant, I cover my assistant, I cover my cleaner, I have to cover everything with my time for dollars. So my job is to be income generating. So you're going to look at it like, even if you want your time to be worth $50 an hour, like you need to look at it that some tasks, like doing inflation tasks, actually isn't worth $50 an hour. And you are going to, but like it is in terms of your business, like if you're adding in your business cost. And that's why you also need to divide it to have that profit margin, so that you're at least doubling the cost. You need to at least double the cost of your cost of doing business, and your cost to pay your employees, and your cost to buy all of your products, because otherwise you're not going to be able to reinvest and you're still going to go out of business. And that's just what it comes down to. If you're not doing at least double so that your business is making profit, not just breaking even, then you're going to go under eventually, or you're not going to be able to scale, or you're going to have to double your prices in a year, and then you're going to lose those customers and completely have to rebuild your market. So just start pricing right from the get-go, if that makes sense.
Okay, thank you.
One
Yeah,
of the biggest
I hope
time
that
waste,
helps, but it's
sorry.
no,
So I
that's
see,
okay.
I see a lot of balloon artists wasting time on delivering gifts, small gifts. That is a huge waste of time. Like you're losing money on that. Those should be pickup items, like so for like the lattice heart, that's a small thing, right? That could be very profitable if you make it quickly and you can crank those out and you can market them and sell them, right? If people are going to buy those and you're just like, all right, I'm going to sit down and crank out 5, 10, 20 of these. That could be very profitable. But if you're just making one, you're sitting there figuring out how to do it, then you drop it off for somebody and you've only charged 35 or $50. That's a huge waste of your time and not profitable for you, right? So you also need to market these things, right? You need to let people know you can get this lattice heart for $75 or whatever, but that should be probably a pickup item because you running around, or right, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it needs to be
Yeah.
one of two things. Either needs to be a pickup item, or else you need to have a limited delivery window where you do all your deliveries at the same time, and where you could possibly again hire somebody to do deliveries. But again, with all of our vehicle expenses, like when we're running deliveries, like a break even for us to run deliveries is at $50 an hour. So just when you're thinking about it, so we either need to staff like 5 deliveries in a small place into 2 hours for it to be profitable. So that way, we're not getting rid of, overcharging for it, because they're not going to, because very few people are going to pay $50 just to deliver one lattice heart. But that's the other thing, is if you're doing, say, lattice hearts for Valentine's Day as a gift, and if you say that all my Valentine's Day gifts are going to be within here, and if you know that you should do it for, say that you figure out that the small 6-inch one could be done at $85, then now you're going to sell it for $125, just because you know that you're going to be delivering those instead of having. So you're already adding that delivery cost into it, and then still charge like $20 for delivery. But the thing is people are more willing to say, oh yeah, I'll pay the $20 delivery fee, or the $10 or $15 delivery fee, then the $50 delivery fee that you're really charging, you're just kind of hiding it into the price.
Yeah.
That's how we do it. I don't know. Other people do it differently. That's how we do it, and it works for us. So,
Okay, I'm gonna stop the recording.